don't hate Marvel. I'm just more of a DC guy. Yeah.
Okay. We're here. We're here to talk about DC versus Marvel Take Two, and we got a special guest here with us, the indomitable, uncomparable Mizzah Tee. Go on.
Hey, fools. Sorry, I was having a little conversation with my cousin over here. But yeah, I'm glad to join you here today.
Okay then, and let's see who. And Triple M, go.
I got apologies to make. That has been the same since New York. You experienced things. And then well, it's just that I just can't sleep. And I have to protect the one thing that I can't live with. That's you. Mr. Stark. I am giving you a choice. You either live for the rest of your days. Oh, crap. I just missed that part. Anyway, this is Triple M.
Right. Now, see, I can't memorize lines of dialogue, but I know the general gist of these films. This is me, Mr. Red Fox.
This was actually a spur of the moment, so yes, I kind of caught myself. Ladies and gentlemen, you caught me and my pants down, so there you have it.
Exposed.
Please stop with the pants down thing. Okay, this is me, Mr. Red Fox. This is Marvel vs. DC Take Two, as I stated, and we're just gonna go over. I mean, last time you heard us go over how desperate DC is, Warner Brothers with their DC film franchise to emulate what Marvel's been doing, and how that's not really helping them right now. Yeah, they aren't doing the world building, is what I'm saying. They could though. They could.
And also keep in mind that the last podcast that we did, Mr. Red Fox and I at Triple M, we kind of mimicked the same thing that Angry Joe and Nostalgia Critic was on the Superman thing. So if you want to hear some good discussion and arguments of both opposing forces, go check on that one and come back over here.
Yeah, it was the Juggernaut. It was the immovable force versus the unstoppable something. The immovable force versus the unstoppable motion or movement, whatever. Anyway, basically, it's the immovable object versus the unstoppable force. In case you don't know, that's the Hulk versus the Juggernaut. Or the Juggernaut, bitch. Remember that one? Remember that meme? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. That comic would be so much better if they actually had the Juggernaut do that. Just announce himself every time he busts into something. But anyway, so yeah, last time I said that Zack Snyder was ruining the DC franchise. And I know many people disagreed. I got hate mail from you people. The comments never stopped.
Bloody hell, really?
No, I'm joking. I just got a few people, but still, for me, like normally people just like I get views and upvotes, and people are like, good job. I don't get a lot of hate mail because I block the haters. But this time, people were like, I disagree. I believe that Man of Steel was actually a fairly good film. And I was like, wow. But they didn't say it that eloquently. They, just like, my opinion sucked. But all I'm gonna say is this. Zack Snyder did X-Men 2, and they had to make 3 to 4 movies to fix X-Men 3.
Correct. No. X-Men 3
didn't do X-Men at all.
Well, he didn't do X-Men 3?
No, that was Brett Ratner.
Ah, that's right. That was Ratner. Ugh. Well,
fail.
Still, that was pretty bad.
we've been
pretty bad.
We've been corrected.
Well, he did do Watchmen. He did do Watchmen, which should have been one of the best superhero films of all time.
I think it was the best Watchmen film we could have gotten. Because Watchmen that lore is just hard to peg down into a 2-hour movie. It's just so much going on, and I thought he did a pretty damn good job with what he was able to do. So
Yeah.
You know
The
what?
best thing.
I will have to say this: that Watchmen, the drawback for that movie, it was too condensed. Like Mr. T said,
right.
there was too many things going on, and even me as the viewer. And by the way, it was the first time I'm being introduced to the Watchmen series
Okay.
franchise. And yeah, and even I was like, okay, I got sidetracked by.
There's stuff missing. Yeah, there's stuff missing.
Yes.
Well, the thing is this: Watchmen is so long. I mean, it's literally when someone says it's a comic book, it literally is a book.
It's a book.
It's a book. Like you could beat someone to death with Watchmen, like the omnibus. You can beat someone to death with it if they attack you. You could literally like.
Yeah, and therein lies the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I really thought that they were going that Zack Snyder would do the whole Lord of the Rings route, make it 3-part or more, something like that.
I was going to say, just think of Peter Jackson having to make one movie out of Lord of the Rings. Like, obviously, the book isn't that big, but just to give you an idea of what you're dealing with as far as story-wise and side characters and side stories, I mean, it's a lot to put into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, it's... I mean... The thing is that it was too condensed, and I mean, Zack Snyder has one quality that kind of works against him as a director. He's very expedient about a lot of things, and expediency is the enemy of like making a really good film sometimes. Because like when you should take your time and do things right, you're like, well, we can cut this out. We can combine these two things together and get through it. But the thing is that your audience, I mean, your audience has to be able to infer and get like a film is all about giving information to the audience about what's going on. And you can't do that if you're moving so quickly and moving from point A to point B to point C to point D so quickly that the audience doesn't know what's going on, or you're skipping entire sequences. Like, you know, you jump from point A to point C. It's like, what happened to B? We don't have time for that. We got to keep on rolling. And that's Zack Snyder. I mean, you know, it's, you know.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm not going to say this is all DC's thing with their properties, because I mean, we're seeing that right now with the Amazing Spider-Man over at Sony Studios. Like, they're skipping stuff in order to meet an impossible deadline.
Yeah. See, all right. I'm not a Zack Snyder fanboy by any means. I find his movies to be entertaining, except for that atrocious. What was that film with the girls? Yeah, I know
what you're talking about. Cherry Bomb.
You shall not think about that, please.
Yeah, it was about the girls in the insane asylum.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it. I try to
forget it. It was terrible.
Try to forget that film. It was quite bad. But other than that, I think his films are pretty good. You know, like Dawn of the Dead, I found very, and I'm a fan of Romero's zombie films, and I found Dawn of the Dead to be pretty faithful and pretty entertaining. 300 I thought was really a really good movie. Very stylized, obviously his thing. So I mean, coming to Watchmen, I thought, how the hell are you going to make this movie? You know, how are they going to make that into a movie? So
and they couldn't do it.
And they couldn't do it, but I thought he did a pretty good job of what he had. So and then we get into,
he did the best he could.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I thought it was a pretty well-made movie. Yeah. And then I feel like obviously Man of Steel is kind of
divisive.
It's a divisive film. Like I loved it. Like I did. I've heard.
Oh my God.
That's fine. I know about that. Like I can understand that. But I loved it because it obviously had some flaws. Some one being Jonathan Kent, his death scene. That's just got on my damn nerves. But
yeah,
and that one felt like it was the Superman movie we needed to have, because we went through the love letter that was Superman Returns,
Oh, the Brandon Routh Superman. Yeah, that was too much.
Right, and it was quite boring. And you know that Superman didn't work today. That Superman was great for the late '70s, early '80s, but we needed an update. And I love the fact that they went really kind of sci-fi, more sci-fi, and got into the alien aspects of Superman. I love the opening on Krypton. That I just thought that was some awesome stuff on Krypton in the beginning. Yes, it is a flawed film for sure, but I thought it was a really good start. And I don't know if I want to, I credit everything to Snyder on that, but I thought he did pretty good.
Chris Nolan had a hand too.
Right.
I'll say that much. Nolan. The thing is, I've noticed about Nolan is that his films are really, really dark.
Yeah.
Like. It's like all this dude sees through his lens is gray, brown, and dark green.
Actually, Mr. Red Fox, I wouldn't say use the word dark. It's more like he tried the Dark Knight. He tried it to be grounded, and it's too grounded that
in reality, right?
Yes, that you can't infuse the unrealism in it. So, yeah.
No, what I mean is this. Like, I saw the trailer for Interstellar, which is his new film with Matthew McConaughey and some other person who I can't remember right now, but I know it's got Matthew McConaughey. And they did the trailer, and I'm like, it's supposed to be in the middle of the day, and I don't know. I mean, I think Chris Nolan, like, he's incapable of using any tint that shows brightness in his films that I've seen. Like, he did that movie. Didn't he do The Machinist? No, he didn't do The Machinist. He didn't do that, no. Nolan, he did some other like art house style film, and it was really dark too. I'm like, dude, can you? I mean, yeah, there was. I'm like, can you do anything that's bright? Is that like you're? Are you like? Because Chris Nolan a vampire?
I mean that's his thing. It's like asking, and not to equate him with Alfred Hitchcock or anything, but Alfred Hitchcock movies are very distinct. They have that same kind of look and feel.
Yeah,
all his movies do. So that's just Nolan's look and feel. You know, I can't knock him.
I don't know. I just didn't know that lack of brightness was a style.
It kind of is. It kind of is.
Like, okay, the lady who did Real Genius also went on to do, if I remember correctly, Look Who's Talking. Her films are very bright and bubbly and effervescent. They have a little bit of nightiness in them, but you can tell like she has a very what?
Those Look Who's Talking films are atrocious.
Yeah, but they have a certain quality to them that's like, okay, I know this was made by this lady. Like Steven Spielberg, not recently, but his earlier films, you're like, okay, this is gonna have, okay, we know we're gonna get a John Williams score. We know we're going to get some awesome, kind of an epic feel to it. That's just how it is. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know lack of light was a style. It's dark, perfect. Like, I mean, I guess Tim Burton has dark and
right,
can
Tim
do
Burton.
dark.
Look at Tim Burton. When he went light, people didn't like that stuff. They didn't like Mars Attacks.
No, they didn't. So. Even though Mars Attacks is really funny.
Yeah,
although it's like
yeah.
Well, funny. I mean, like Mars Attacks is funny in a it's a parody of all those alien films from the 50s with the big head aliens that are killed. It's a parody of parodies.
Right. If you didn't know that going in, and if you don't care for that type of film, that movie.
Yeah, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah, you just ain't gonna like it. So.
But
we're talking about the cinematic world,
aliens killed
them. I'm sorry.
What?
Oh, I was just saying we're talking about the building of the cinematic universes.
Yeah.
In Marvel.
It seems to me that DC has basically, like, I guess because for so long DC was at the top of building comic book worlds. Like, they started out strong. They had like Superman, then they had Batman, and it was like, man, we can't be touched. And then, I mean, never mind forgetting that the second halves of their cinematic universes tended to fall apart. Like Superman 1 and 2, pretty good. After that,
Exactly. That was the point I was going to make. I mean, I guess you guys, I haven't watched the last podcast on this. Let me get my take in real quick here. Yeah,
Go ahead.
you actually just started it by saying, yeah, we look back with nostalgia tinted glasses when it comes to Superman and Batman, but only the first two movies were the ones that were, the good ones. Superman especially, Batman Forever was okay. It was a good movie. It was entertaining.
Yeah,
it wasn't until we got to Batman and Robin that it was atrocious train wreck.
Oh.
So, the thing is that they didn't exist in the same world, Superman and Batman, in those movies either. So, it's kind of unfair. I think DC is getting an unfair shake here. It's easier for Marvel to do what they're doing because their studio is a studio. They have Marvel Studios. It's owned by Disney, and they have a long-term plan. And the thing about DC is that with Warner, it's Warner Brothers. So it's not like this is DC Studios, and they don't have a togetherness kind of plan. They're just starting to do this now. So I think they get a lot of flack. I agree
with you 100%.
Right, I think they get a lot of flack unfairly because of that. It's not fair to compare them. Now, if what they're doing with Man of Steel and the Justice League and all that stuff and Batman and Batman vs Superman, that doesn't pan out, then you can criticize them. But I think we got to at least give them the chance to catch up because it's not fair because basically Marvel kind of started with what, Blade.
So actually, they started before then. Because last podcast we went through all of the Marvel films that I could remember watching, and it was way back. It was like Doctor Strange in the 70s.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't want to go back that far. I didn't want to count
that movie. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Actually, that was really faithful to the comics, but the technology at the time, the special effects at the time, were not
right.
Really, here's the thing. If they do a Doctor Strange now, we know they would have the technology to make it look like you would think Doctor Strange would look. And I'll give Marvel this much. They make their movies like you would think these characters would look.
Uh-huh.
It's not great. Well, no, I mean, period. They really try to make it sound like, okay, if you are if you're at least passingly familiar with the comic books, it's going to match what your imagination is. It's with DC. It's like, well, the director wants to ground it in this reality, so we have to change the reality in order to go with the comic book reality with the cinema reality, and therefore alienate part of the audience.
Right, and they're not afraid to put their superheroes in their actual costumes, unlike what Fox is doing with the X-Men.
And that's the reason why I said to some certain degree, because that was one franchise, the X-Men. That was when I was really die hard to see it in the theaters, and then just to see the whole uniform is in black, and I'm like, oh,
they messed it up. They messed it up. I'm not gonna lie to you, they messed it up. But it's Fox.
And, I mean, the worst part is that they actually made. I've seen the Wolverine costume, the comic book one. They've actually.
They still won't give it to him.
They wouldn't pull the trigger. They were afraid to put him in it.
Damn. They better do it before Hugh Jackman gets too old to play Wolverine. They better, because he's getting up there. It's been like 12, almost 13 years at this point.
Yeah, Wolverine is 150 years old anyway, so.
Yeah, but Hugh Jackman physically is getting to the point where it's getting harder for him to go into the shape diet that those Hollywood actors do in order to play these roles. So I advise Fox, if you're listening, probably not, but if you do get a chance, look, you better get him into that suit before he gets your next X-Men. Have him get into the suit, and I don't care. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be yellow and blue. You can put him in the tan. You can put him in the tan and browns. I don't care. Either one.
And by the way, can we get an X-Men movie that's not all about Wolverine's ass? It might as well just call it X-Men Wolverine Part 3 or 4 or whatever they're on now. Yeah. Because it's mostly.
The latest one wasn't too much about Wolverine. I mean, he was in it, but it wasn't like he was in it in the beginning, and then it went off to other people, which is good.
Yeah, but he was the main character.
Yeah. The thing is that like the X-Men films, like I like the first one and I like the second one. The third one, I was like, oh God,
what
no.
the WTF?
No. But the ones after that were like, okay, I'm gonna watch it because I'm a Marvel fan, but this is just too much. But before anyone says anything, I like DC too. I have a lot of those comics too. Don't say you're not a DC fan. I like both of them equally. They're like my kids. I can't say I like one over the other. Although sometimes one kid might do something that makes them less favorable to you at a time, but you don't love either of them less. Although one might get, something, rewarded better because they did better on something, but you don't love them less. So.
Oh yeah.
You must ain't got no kids. I'll just mess with you.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I do not have any kids, but I do. I used to teach, so.
Yeah, I don't pick favorites.
You try your best to like all of them, but sometimes, listen, you want to teach all of them, but one of them is that kid who just always interrupts, and you're like, never mind, I digress. But anyway, look, I really want. I mean, DC's been kind of afraid to put their characters in their costumes or to put them more into their fantastical universe. But the thing about comic books is that they are fantastical. It isn't reality. I mean, even though a lot of these places are based upon reality, like Metropolis is supposed to be Chicago, Gotham's New York. They still have Washington.
I thought it was the other way around. Actually.
Weird.
Actually,
no. New York is Gotham. It's supposed to be Gotham City.
I always felt it was Chicago to me, Gotham, and New York was Metropolis. But No,
the reason why is because back in the day, New York was kind of like that kind of a gritty place at the time. And like parts of it had that like dark gothic type of thing going on, and Chicago was at the time when these comics were made, like the 30s and 40s. Chicago was like one of the major metropolitan centers, like it was one of the major, like the railroads met there. It was a major place of commerce and everything. So it's like supposed to be like Chicago as it was. Now, New York is more like Metropolis, and Chicago is more like Gotham City, but
crime rated.
Back in the day, well, actually, Detroit is Gotham City. No, actually, I said that wrong. Detroit is Gotham City. Detroit, Michigan. But
actually, I thought Detroit was actually Metropolis, but go ahead.
It doesn't really matter.
It's relative. That's the thing I like about Marvel. You don't have to ask any questions. New York is New York. Chicago is Chicago. DC is DC. You don't have to be like, well, which city is this?
Well, I mean, they want to make their own cities. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
They want to sit there they want to sit in a world where they can do what they want to. New York is always going to be New York, so you're stuck with New York, and so. Metropolis could be anything, Gotham City, there's so many different interpretations of Gotham City. You look at Nolan's interpretation of it, it was Chicago, and then you look at, the comic books, and it was basically, like London or something.
1940, it's like London, 1940s New York. Right. It's very like an old school Gothic style, very noir.
Large Gothic buildings and, So I mean I kind of like that. But the movies never carried it out that way. You look at Metropolis from the Superman movies, it's New York, no doubt about that.
Basically.
You look at Gotham, and then it's Chicago. So.
Well, I will say this much though, something that they've all carried through. Gotham City, not a place you really want to live. It's always kind of a shithole. It's like, really? All these super criminals running around, blowing up people and throwing people. I mean, really, you think with all of these gadgets, the city would be a little bit safer.
Yeah, they all get
no, my
to
friend.
crazy house. They don't even
Yeah, and he all locks them up in the same place where they can come up with a plan to break out and terrorize the city. But this guy's a premier crime fighter. You know? I'm like, dudes, I don't feel safe in
Well,
this
it's not
city.
his decision that they go to the asylum. That's that's the state. I mean, that's the city's government. That's their decision.
I don't know.
So.
Every single comic book he gets in, he meets up with the Jake's like, Joker, you fiend. It's like he's always some villain. He's like, we're gonna get you psychological help. I'm like, dude, this dude's friggin' blowing up people. Don't look, throw him in jail.
He's driving other people crazy. He's driving the doctors crazy.
Crazy.
Like Harley Quinn. So
stop doing that.
It's not gonna work. He's not to be rehabilitated.
He's not solitary confinement and locked away the keys and throw it away.
Look, seriously, could you see Joker going like running, flagging down a cab? Man, I need to get to my parole officer's office, or I go back to jail. Could you see him wearing a hairnet, working in a restaurant in the back washing dishes? Could you really see that? I mean,
no.
I'm rehabilitated, Judge. Two-Face with that coin.
Oh man.
I'm back. I'm not crazy anymore. Yeah, you are, Harvey.
I mean, I guess we could throw in Green Lantern. Have you guys talked about Green Lantern at all?
Yeah, we talked about that train wreck.
Yeah.
But we didn't went full in depth.
Well, I just came to. I think they should have took the. I've said this a couple times in me and Jay Fleming's podcast. We have a comic book movie based podcast. Shout out to Jay Fleming. I said we should, or they should have it being Warner Brothers. They should have just took that loss and moved on, and added what happened because it happened in Green Lantern. It just took the L because it didn't do good at the box office. But just say to hell with it. We're gonna still add this as part of our cinematic universe because it basically got to start over with him in Batman versus Superman. I think they're gonna kind of have him in there somewhere.
Reboot.
Right. So
Reboot,
I just think they should have said because that world of Green Lantern would have fit okay. In Man of Steel world, and subsequently the Batman is coming, and Batman vs Superman, I think it would have fit fine because it was fantastical. Yeah. So I think they should have just took the loss and said, okay, the movie didn't do well. We're gonna keep moving on. Yeah, we're just gonna keep this in, and we'll go from there because that's what Marvel did with
those Hulk movies.
Right.
Look.
Yeah, and even though the first one was
they just got a different actor and they bound it together.
They just said, that movie didn't do good either, but they just said, to hell with it. This is gonna be part of the lore for all the movies still.
Yep.
So that's what Warner Brothers should have did. It's not ran away scared from Green Lantern.
Exactly.
It's like I said last podcast. It's like I said last podcast. The reason Marvel's doing well is because the movies that have been successful are run by Marvel Studios, which is run about building a world. I mean, that's their job, to get you hooked and to give you crumb by crumb, link by link, to build this massive world to lead to this huge event. Like they started with Iron Man for the Avengers. They did Iron Man, then they did Captain America, then they did they did Thor, then Captain America. They built this intricate world. They incorporated the Hulk movies. I mean, they built this world to lead up to the Avengers, the movie.
And they assembled greatly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what. This is the thing about DC that I will agree with some people who say they're not building the cinematic world the right way, is that we already know that the Justice League movie will be directed by Zack Snyder. And I'm like, that's not what you should do. You should not do that. That should be a different director.
No.
Heck, I wish
Zack Snyder is way too expedient to make this film. He's like, oh, well, this will make it easier. We'll finish it. We'll wrap up filming. You have to take your time.
That should be Ben Affleck.
I know. They're on a budget. Ben Affleck could do it. I mean, he's starring in it. He'd probably have more insight in what's going on, but it's I mean, it's Snyder. That's what he does. But
that's not Snyder's fault. That's WB's fault. That's Warner Brothers' fault for just instead of doing what Marvel is doing by having all these cool directors. Like, dude, like Guardians of the Galaxy was not on my radar. It's one of the best films this year for me.
I know.
Because I know James Gunn. Like, I know him, and I knew that movie was going to be funny because is what James Gunn does, and it was perfect. It was just like
true.
That's the good thing about the Marvel movies that you're not going to get from DC movies is that each one of these movies are going to feel different because they have different directors, and
not just that, each film is something else.
Right, it's in its own world at the same time of being in the same world as the other movies, and that's what you get from having a different artistic take from different directors on it.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is like each Marvel film has been like a different, like, okay, Captain America: The Winter Soldier was a spy film. It was a spy, like, whodunit intrigue film.
Right. It wasn't just a look at my
superpowers
they weren't like,
movie. This is a Captain America film.
Look at my powers movie. It was a thriller. It was
very little superpower stuff going on in that film.
Yeah.
Except towards the very end. But generally speaking, it was like, what's going on?
It was an espionage thriller. It was
it was espionage thriller. It was James Bond with Captain America.
Right, exactly.
James Bond.
Actually, no. It was James Bond with superhuman abilities.
Right.
Well, no, because it had Black Widow, and she's not superhuman at all. Well,
you know what? It was almost like one of those Bourne movies. That's what it kind of felt like. It felt like
it was.
Okay, yeah.
A Jason Bourne movie almost.
It did. I mean, that was very well done. And James Gunn, I knew Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be good because right now Marvel's got their formula down. Marvel's like, okay, we got the formula. We're going to test it out with Guardians of the Galaxy. A group of characters that no one really, unless you're like a hardcore Marvel fan, really cared about or knew much about. Like most people, Guardians of the Galaxy.
I didn't know what it was.
Actually,
most Marvel fans don't know who it is.
I'm kind of on the same boat with Mizzah Tee, but I actually do research on the Marvel series, and I only read about Guardians of the Galaxy, like a snippet of it, and when that movie came out, it was again under my radar, just like Mizzah Tee, but then when I saw the trailer and how it goes, I was like, okay, now I really need to pay attention on this movie.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ms. T. I
lost my thought. You go ahead.
Well, no, the thing is that James Gunn showed in that film, like in the first 10 minutes, he takes you through an emotional journey, and he gives you a range of things, right? Like the beginning of the film, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it, but in the beginning of the film, he hits you hard with something that emotionally makes you feel a lot of like sad. The feels are real, son. And then he's like, okay, I just want to prove that I'm a good director. I can make you feel. Now I'm gonna give you a bandage for that to fix you up, patch you up. You'll be okay after this. I'm gonna cool it down. And he gives you some old school 70s pop music to kind of soul pop music, kind of assuage it. And a dude making an utter fool of himself while doing it, and it works. It's like, wow, this guy has range. And that's the whole. I mean, he sneaks in the feels.
This movie should have been a bomb, but it was on a completely other side of a bomb. It was astronomical. It was so good. Like, it was just a really good film. It
dominated the box office.
Like you were saying about the opening. Like, you got that opening, you got the feels, and then it took you away from that for a little bit, and you got a little bit more of that scattered throughout the movie. but then it came full circle at the end. Like, it didn't forget about that heart, you know? And I love that. Like, a lot of these type of movies can easily just, okay, let's have some explosions, let's jump around and do all this crazy stuff, and forget about that, that the feels, if you will. And it didn't. It came back to it at the end. I just thought that was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that, like I said, Marvel has perfected their formula, which makes me happy because now we can get our Black Panther movie.
Right.
Because we need Black
Yes.
We need because look, Blade. I like Blade. Wesley, that movie was so. It needed to break down a lot of barriers, but really, we need the Black Panther movie. And after we get a Black Panther movie, we need a really good Spawn movie. Rated R.
Oh, boy.
Rated R. I said it. I'm tired of people
the
always
original Spawn was supposed to be rated R. And then their eyes got too big, and they wanted to, they wanted to make it PG to make it more viable. I bet there's got to be a cut out there of that movie that's way better than what we got.
Well, because Spawn itself, I mean, it's Todd McFarlane.
Right.
This is not going to be something you're going to want a 13-year-old. I mean, look, listen, okay. I remember the first time I read a Spawn comic book, and I was like, I want to say 13, 14 years old. And I was like, damn, I don't need to be reading this. Like, even I was like, I don't need to. I mean, I read it anyway because, what do you get? But still, I'm like,
this
is some hardcore stuff in here. Look, listen, Spawn, when I say Spawn should be rated R, it's a hard R. I'm talking sex, violence, horrific dismemberment, torture. The fun stuff that we. It's the reason why RoboCop, Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop, was really good because it was rated R. It had violence.
You got the religious overtones and all that stuff is in there. It's a really mature comic for sure. And I remember
had Robo Jesus.
Oh boy.
Well, that's RoboCop. RoboCop is Robo Jesus. And look, except Robo Jesus won't die for your sins. Robo Jesus will come back with a semi-automatic Magnum and blow you away. Yeah, Robo Jesus don't turn the other cheek.
Old Testament Robo Jesus. He's Old Testament before, before the turn the other cheek stuff.
Yeah, Robo Jesus don't turn the other cheek. Oh, he might, just so that he can come back and pull you through a wall and throw you out of a window.
Oh, God.
Robo Jesus, I'm sorry, Robo Jesus. I have no feelings anymore. I'm joking, but not really. Look, go watch Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop, and then watch the sequel. It wasn't directed by the same guy, but it has the same feels.
Oh, what's the RoboCop 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a terrible movie, but it's still very mature.
It was terrible compared to the first one, but it's still It's still like in the gist of the entire series. It's still pretty good.
It
still holds up relatively.
It was R-rated film too. It was a hard R.
Yeah. Well, RoboCop. I mean, you cannot have a RoboCop film and have it be rated PG. Like, really, they made a Wolverine film and it was rated PG-13. I was like, PG-13 Wolverine? I mean, this is the dude whose catchphrase is, I'm very good at what I do, but what I do isn't very good. Like, he's slicing and dicing people, and it's rated PG-13? Seriously?
That does not bode well.
Are you talking about Origins?
I'm talking about every Wolverine film that has come out after like X3 has been PG-13, and I'm like, it's Wolverine. Think how awesome the Hulk would be if it was rated R. I mean, yeah, the box office wouldn't be quite as big, but think how violent they could really make the Hulk really big. Because how he is in the comics, ripping dudes in half and ripping dudes' arms off and beating people to death with them.
I don't know if I want to see that.
Well, he's the Hulk. That's what he was.
I grew up.
I mean, look, there's a
watching the
reason
TV
he
show.
tells people don't think I'm angry. Yeah, oh, you mean with Bill Bixby and
I thought it
Luke
was.
Ridnow?
Yeah, it had some pretty mature storylines in that show, and I thought that was it was a pretty good show. Obviously, he couldn't do
Yeah, it was.
wise and all that stuff, action, wise, what we can do now. But I thought the stories were pretty mature stories.
Yeah, they were
on
pretty
TVs.
deep. They were pretty. Yeah, but I mean, that was back when people actually wrote good scripts for TV.
I'm different now.
Like now, they're just like, okay, we got to get this out. We got to knock it out right now. So I guess now that we've gone through that, let's talk about what we really like. Our dream comic book movie would be.
Okay.
I just want to see a standalone Wonder Woman movie done freaking bloody right. I mean,
You just want to see in that unitard.
that ain't gonna happen because they look who they cast.
not even
That unitard. Yeah, they chose 5'6" Gal Gadot because she totally reminds me of an Amazon.
No, she's not. She's thought she
What,
was
5'8"?
I thought she was 5'9".
No, she's petite, I think. Oh, let me go check it. I'm pretty sure she's not an Amazon.
Well, no, she's not an Amazon for sure.
I'm reasonably certain she's not an Amazon. Or not even close, not even faking it. Not even a fake Amazon.
She's no Xena, that's for sure.
Gal Gadot. Well, no, the thing is that the thing is that Wonder Woman, her big thing is that she's like she's almost as tall as Superman is. So unless Superman is really short,
actually taller
it's going to
than
be kind of
Superman.
weird.
With them heels on, she's taller.
Well, in the comics, she doesn't really wear heels unless she's about to kick someone's ass. Normally, she wears sandals. Yeah, she wears sandals.
In the sand. Oh yeah.
She wears the sandals because that's how she. Yeah, she's gonna be Wonder Woman. They say they're gonna make a Wonder Woman movie, but I don't know.
Not with Gal Gadot.
Not with Gal Gadot.
She's just not
no.
a good enough actress to carry a film. I don't think.
I don't think she is. Here's the thing. I think I don't think she's really. I don't think she has the proper. Like the costume, apparently WB feels that they can't actually put her in the Wonder Woman costume because, heroes can't look like.
Whoa. I think you're getting too far ahead. I think we'll get that, but what we're getting right now is basically a Wonder Woman origin. So she will graduate to that costume. I have no doubt in my mind that.
Really, you think they're gonna? Shoot that.
I think so. They're not gonna. No, they're not gonna keep that kind of. What is it? Kind of a leathery, bland brown. Of. No, she's not gonna stay in that. She'll graduate once they're in the Justice League. She'll have the costume that we all know. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
I don't know. They made that really dark Superman suit for Man of Steel.
Well, he still retained his color. It still retained, the Superman color scheme, and it was still the same, costume or whatever. It just had I guess a darker blue and a darker kind of a red to it. But it was, it was still that costume. It wasn't like what Wonder Woman has right now, which is like Gina Warrior Princess, So I think she will graduate to the costume that we all know.
So you think they're going to do her doing a trainee, and then like in Batman vs Superman, she's going to be like a side character?
Right. Yeah, just
and then with the Justice.
I just think they're going to bring look at Batman Begins. When he first went out there, he had a ski mask on, son. I mean, before he graduated to his cowl. So
and that's
the cowl.
And that's how it exactly happened in the animated series of Batman.
Right. So I think they're just trying to do an origin with her.
Animated series.
Yeah, I don't think they are either. But I think
Batman's original costume was pretty damn ridiculous looking, if I remember correctly. It was red, and he looked like the devil.
Yeah, I mean, what about
wasn't as cool?
What about the blue and the gray from back in the day? Nobody got upset when he went all black. You know.
There were some people.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're over it by now.
Although I will say this much. I would like. This isn't my dream comic book movie. I would like to see them bring back the old Batman. The old Batman, like as a parody, the '60s Batman, where he'd punch someone, he'd go pow, son.
Oh no!
and I'd like to see them bring him back, but throw him into Christopher Nolan's Batman.
No,
Oh God!
you want
go on the side of a building, like do a riff on that, where the dude's actually like walking horizontally, but it looks like he's going up the building.
You want the Dark Knight Batman and Robin? That what you looking for? Oh,
that would be funny. That would be funny. Come on, man.
I thought we were being serious here.
Laughing your butt off. Yeah, look, I'd be laughing.
You know,
It would give levity to that. Give levity to that universe. Him versus the Joker. Pow!
But yeah, go ahead and finish. I don't think we let him finish his dream movie, which is you were saying Wonder Woman, right? So go ahead and finish that up. Go ahead.
Yes, I mean,
thoughts.
yeah. All right. Everyone already knows that that Wonder Woman animated movie, right? That the picture of how she became Diane became Wonder Woman.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you could do that in an animated movie, I don't see how the bloody hell you can't do that in a real life movie. And that's all I was asking for. With Steve, with the fighter pilot Steve Rogers, there's the love interest, done. I mean, just one movie.
I mean, it sounds easy, but the stuff you can get away with in an animated film, you can't get away with in a real live-action movie because a lot of that stuff just doesn't translate well. And that's not even to call into account the budget of what you're gonna, because you're talking about some crazy action, and it's just gonna be really expensive.
I can see about the whole invisible pilot thing. Invisible pilot. I mean, the invisible plane.
Right.
Invisible jet. Yeah.
But yeah, I could accept some changes, some minuscule changes.
Right.
I mean, I could just see her coming in with a Pegasus horse. Just saying.
Well, I mean, I like where you're going, but the thing is this: that could be done, but the problem is actually systemic. See, the people in charge, it's like Mizzah Tee said earlier, the people in charge of Warner Brothers, of the DC IPs and their movies aren't the DC comic book people.
It's
the studio.
Yes,
the Warner Brothers studio. And they're not going to do something. They're not going to do. I mean, they're looking at things in dollars, but I mean, and that's important because I mean, you don't get into movies just because you want to make movies. You get into it because you also want to make money, right. And I can understand that. But the thing is this: the only way you can make money with comic book movies is if you understand your audience. And the problem is that the studio execs, most of them, don't understand their audience whatsoever.
Nope.
They don't. They're looking at people like dark and gritty films. So dark and gritty. That's my ripoff of Stan the Man Lee. Excelsior. No. So we need to make them dark and gritty.
And here's an example of what you're talking about right there. John Peters is the longtime producer of all the Batman films. And Superman as well. And he was going to do a Superman film back in 2000 with Tim Burton as a director, and what's his name was going to play Superman?
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage was going to be Superman, right? And a lot of the things that he wanted, he said he didn't want Superman in that. This is his words, in that gay ass costume. He didn't want Superman in the.
Oh my gosh! If I ever see that man on the street,
no
I am going to blast his face.
He didn't want a cape or any of that stuff, and they were working on doing that. There's a really good. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and put in your search Kevin Smith Superman, and there's a rant. Basically, Kevin Smith is doing kind of a stand-up thing, even where he's talking about his interaction with John Peters, the director, because Kevin Smith was actually writing the first few drafts of that Superman I'm talking about, that Superman movie that was gonna star Nick Cage, and so he tells this awesome story. It's hilarious. If you're a fan, you know, if you're a comic book fan, if you're a Superman fan, you should definitely go check this out. It's hilarious all the way through. It's 10 minutes long. It's about 10 minutes long, and it's funny the whole way through. And you should definitely watch it. Yes, you got to watch that.
Actually, to tell you the truth,
it's funny because it comes all the way around full circle. It comes back to like what's that movie, Wild Wild West? It comes to Wild Wild West at the end, and it's beautiful. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. How he comes back around to that movie, and he talks about his experience of working with that. But that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a bunch of producers who've had success doing it their way, and they're kind of stubborn.
Yep.
Because he had a lot of success with the first Batman movies, so he wanted to kind of do his own thing. Superman. Right. So this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a lot of executives who don't really love the IPs.
Yeah.
They just want to make, they have their ideas and they want to make the
money.
They want to
make the money. Yeah,
right.
They want to make the money.
I
can't knock that. I mean, I can't knock people wanting to make money.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but doesn't that reminds us of another industry that's being in this very same position right now?
Oh, you talking video games?
It sounds familiar. It sounds a little familiar.
That's every industry, my friend. That's every industry where there's a lot of money involved.
But I will say this much, though. A lot of the smaller studios that used to handle, that would take chances with some films, like, let's see, who did a lot of those off-the-wall science fiction, fantasy films? I want to say Image or Vision or something like that. They like, the films have gotten too expensive now. Even though they made money off of them,
right.
They had to give them up to bigger studios.
Right.
And it's sad because, I mean, you need those mid-sized to smaller studios to handle the smaller projects.
Yep.
Because everything can't be not every movie is going to be a huge financial smack.
No.
Not everything. Sometimes you'll just make enough money to pay everybody, and people can pay their car notes, their house notes, and go home.
Every movie can't be Call of Duty. It can't.
Yeah.
You gotta have some mid-range movies in there.
Yeah, you need. Well, I'll give you an example. One of my favorite movies of all time came out a week after E.T. This movie also stars it's also about aliens, except the aliens in this film are not nice. They kill people by eating them. What movie am I talking about? John Carpenter's The Thing.
The Thing.
Oh.
The Thing, yeah.
Yep.
Now this movie is it came out a week after E.T. and it bombed at the box office because everyone was like, E.T., E.T. Look, I love E.T. just as much as the next person. But it is criminal.
Not that much.
Well, it bombed as far as like not making commercials. It made money because it only cost
it did.
Like, I think $8 million or $10 million to make it, and it made its money back and it made a little more. Right.
Yeah, but it should have done better. It should. I mean, had that movie not released a week after E.T., it would have been because it's a good thing. Look, this was John Carpenter back in the day when he was on top of the world. This was good John Carpenter. This was Big Trouble in Little China John Carpenter. This was They Live John Carpenter. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen that film, y'all,
it's awesome.
The best man fight ever. Two men beating the hell out of each other. It's the best man fight ever. You'll never see anything. It's a great fight. Rowdy Roddy Piper, Keith David beating the hell out of each other. It's great. I love it.
South Park did an homage to it in one episode with what's the kid in the wheelchair?
Timmy versus Jimmy.
Yeah, they did an homage to that fight, which is hilarious when I saw it. So,
yeah, it's like the best fight. Oh man, I love it. But anyway, yeah, John Carpenter. There was a time when John Carpenter was like untouchable. Like he'd make a film, it's like, oh, well, this is gonna be good.
Yeah,
I know it's gonna be good.
Or Escape from L.A.
Oh god. Escape from LA was really, really bad. And the thing, I'm like shocked.
No, No, it was so bad that it was that good.
Yeah, like it is a guilty pleasure for sure. I'll watch it when it's on.
Fun to watch, but it's like, oh man, compared to his past, like even compared to Escape from New York, it's like this movie is terrible.
And don't even talk about Ghost of Mars. Oh Lord, have mercy.
Oh God, Ghost of Mars. Oh.
I know I've seen that movie just by hearing the name, but I completely forgot about the synopsis about it.
Natasha
Henstridge, yeah, it's a
the chick from Species.
Those Species movies, those god awful Species movies.
Species movies, they are terrible. They are. Those are some of the worst. Like I've never seen a film where like there's nothing else on Sci-Fi Channel. You flip to it and you're like, it's like you missed the beginning. You're at the middle or close to the end, and you still have no idea what's going on. It's like, what the hell is?
Yeah, those movies exist because of Natasha Henstridge, but she is a tall drink of water. Well, she's beautiful. But
basically, yeah, that's what they
right.
just. She's carrying that movie. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so I'll watch those movies because of her, because she is gorgeous. But
that's the only thing that's carrying that film.
Exactly.
It's not like The Fifth Element. Like The Fifth Element is a guilty pleasure movie for me because it's not like one of the greatest sci-fi films ever. Yeah,
I love that movie.
I like The Fifth Element because, okay, you've got Bruce Willis with his ironic, I'm just doing this for a paycheck acting.
Really?
And you've got Mia.
No. What? He wasn't there yet. Not in Fifth Element. Fifth Element, I think he was all in.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Red.
Yeah,
Red was where he was at.
Red.
I'm just here
that was about 10 years later. But Bruce Willis was all. I think he was at his prime, at his peak in that movie.
He had a little bit of hair left.
Him at his peak. You had Chris Tucker at his prime. He was hilarious in that movie. I mean,
God.
That was her first film, wasn't it?
No, she was in the Blue Lagoon 2.
Okay, that's right. You're right.
And it was a big hubbub because she was way too young for some of those.
Super young. Yes.
Look, really, if you know the age of this actor, you should not be watching this film because it's a little perverted.
It don't make it easy. You don't feel right watching it.
No, it's like, no, this shouldn't be watched by anyone.
No, yeah. But yeah, I love The Fifth Element. It's one of my favorite sci-fi films. It's because
it doesn't
take itself seriously. It's a comedy movie built. It's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy to me. It's a sci-fi movie, but it's a comedy as well. So.
My gosh, you're quite right.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I like it so much because it had that kind of feel to it too.
Yeah, well, Guardians of the Galaxy is it's basically James Gunn. In my opinion, it's James Gunn stealing things from two other better films, mashing them together to create something new. Like he stole from Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and he mashed them together. He's like, Guardians of the Galaxy. But here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with stealing stuff from Indiana Jones. I wish more directors would steal from good movies. What?
Every director steals. No idea is original. No idea is original.
Yeah, like Akira Kurosawa, a lot of his films are based off of Shakespeare.
Actually,
Star Wars stole from Akira Kurosawa.
We should say it like this. Copying work is a form of a flattery.
Yes.
Yep, flattery is imitation's greatest.
It's like, why reinvent the wheel? You don't have to do that. Just make a better wheel.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
Which is why I get kind of angry when I see these avant-garde style directors who are like, I'm doing something new, and it flops spectacularly, and they're like, well, it's because the audience didn't get it. No, it's because the audience saw it and didn't like it. Don't blame the audience.
Blame yourself
all the time.
Some guys can do that, like David Lynch can do that. He can do that kind of avant-garde stuff, and it still works really well. He just...
Let me put it this way. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. I was just saying that David Lynch is a guy that can do that. The Coen brothers are guys that can do that kind of offbeat kind of stuff, and it works really well.
Yes.
So there's guys that can do that.
Basically, the Coen brothers. If you really here's the thing. The first time I saw a Coen brothers movie, like I remember it used to come on cable when I was a little kid all the time, and Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona.
And it starred Nick Cage, Raising Arizona, John Goodman. I forget the name of some lady who was in a lot of TV movies. And it's just a really like it's dark and it's funny and it's just really good.
Yeah.
This was Nick Cage back when he had it.
Back before you knew.
I don't know what
Nick Cage was.
But he doesn't have it anymore.
Well, he had a lot of taxes he had to pay, so he started taking paychecks. I can't I can't hate on him for that. He had to pay them taxes. So
hey, look, I don't know. I like Nick Cage, but sometimes, man, he's too off the wall for me, and I can do a lot of off the wall, but Nick Cage too off the wall for me. But he's too off the wall.
I think he can still, like, with the right director, the right story, he can still. I mean, he's still Nick Cage. He just had some bad,
he is
some bad picks. His whoever his agent is need to be shot.
No, they need to be shot, staked, and thrown out of a window in broad daylight. Make sure they aren't a vampire.
Oh man, yeah, whoever that is got to go. But I feel like he can still do it. Like, even I was thinking the other day, what actors that were like at the top or prime actors that you could bring them back and put them in the right movie. Cuba Gooding Jr. I think is a guy that still has really good acting ability. He just has a really bad agent as well. So
he does.
You could get a guy like him, an Oscar winner, a former Oscar winner. Yeah. You can get a guy like him and put him in something and make it and bring him back, basically, with the right movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like Nick Cage is the same. He's the same boat. You can bring him back with the right film.
Speaking about...
what would be perfect for Nick Cage? Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah,
It would be perfect for Nick Cage. It's in the name. Look, listen. Nick Cage he doesn't even need to go to costumes. He probably has that shit in his closet right now. He's got. Give him a little
we're talking about a guy who named his son Kal-El. So.
Yeah, he's got the V. Look, I know he's got the pimp cape. I know he's probably got the V, the blue V, wide open V, button-up collar shirt. I know he's got some tight disco pants from back in the 70s. He can look. If anyone can play, if they could bring back Robert Downey Jr., I know they can bring back. If they can bring back Robert Downey Jr., look, this is the man who they found. He broke into somebody's house. He was so high, he broke into somebody's house and was found asleep in their bed. And people, it's like your kids go to sleep in the bed, like teenagers, and you go in there, and they thought the teenager was asleep, and it was him in their bed. They called the police. He's like, "Why were you in the bed?" He's like, "Look, man, I was tired, and I went in there and I went to sleep."
I was acting out a scene in Back to the Future 2. That's what I was doing. Yeah. If you get that reference,
I was tired.
If you get
I was tired.
You know what? That particular shenanigan that happened with Robert Downey Jr. You could actually see Tony Stark doing this very same thing.
Yeah. This is the Robert Downey Jr. that, before the first Iron Man movie, was asking Wesley Snipes for advice. No doubt. He called up Wesley Snipes because, Wesley had done the Blade movies, and he was like, asking him, advice on how he should play the character and what Wesley did, to get into the character. So, and obviously, Iron Man blew that away. Blade away. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is that basically Blade in the Marvel universe, from what I've seen thus far, he isn't a very nuanced character as they write him. I think he could be a very nuanced character if they actually if they ever rebooted that franchise, but I don't think they are going to, because no one really wants to go back over Blade again. You know what I mean?
Who's gonna play Blade? Like, who has the charisma?
Who else can do it? Maybe Idris Elba.
I was gonna say that's all they do. Like anytime you need a black character, Idris Elba. It was the Idris, man. Like, I don't mind because I
can't think of anyone else.
Who else would be him? Like, who else has the charisma as a black actor to play Blade? I mean, just I don't think I can't think of
anyone else
anyone.
I'd want is too old.
Right.
Anyone else I
So,
want is too old.
It's just
Idris
not gonna
Elba's the
work.
only one who could pull it off.
And there's an example of movies that weren't afraid to take a hard R. Those Blade films.
Yeah,
They took
but
R.
they were vampires, and vampires always get rated R.
No,
Unless it's Twilight.
I was gonna say you can do a vampire movie that's not R. That's possible.
That's the only one, Twilight, because apparently vampires aren't scary anymore. They're sparkly,
I think
and
there was
they're 108
in the
years
80s.
hitting on 18-year-olds.
I don't think Lost Boys was an R-rated film.
No, but
You could do vampire.
it was like in the 80s.
Yeah. 80s was
Yeah,
different.
but it was in the 80s.
You can get away with
And
a
the
lot
80s
more.
was different. Yeah, like that whole thing in the Lost Boys where they got the maggots in the thing, and like the dude maybe ate some maggots, maybe he didn't, you don't know. like now they give that an R, like, hey, that dude ate some maggots.
And teenagers cursing. Oh no, that's R.
No, well, here's the funny thing. You can have people cursing now, and it's PG-13, but oh my God, you have a reference to sex, it's R.
Sex or violence. They can't deal with that.
We can deal with violence.
No, we can do violence. Let me take that back.
They threw that dude out the window. Yeah, sex. No, it's rated R.
we some pilgrims when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I don't know, whatever. But so what is your dream movie, Mizzah Tee?
Actually, my dream movie is coming. I don't know if it's going to be my dream movie, and that is Batman vs Superman. Now, what would make it my dream movie? I can tell you that is this is how I've always said this. They should start this movie looking to destroy the Nolan Batman movies. And the best way for me that they could do that is to start this movie with Batman fighting Killer Croc, you know, or the what's his name, or he was in the last Batman film.
Bane.
Yeah, Bane. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank for Bane, but give us the comic book Bane, the super roided out Bane, towering.
Yeah, because they haven't a good Bane yet.
They have to destroy
no
this built-in reality Batman, and I think they should do that right from the jump start. Just give us a crazy, fantastical fight with Batman versus Killer Croc, or one of the more fantasy type characters that you get in the Batman universe.
They should do Bane.
Bane.
They should do Bane.
Would be perfect, right? Just go ahead and kill the Bane that we just saw, which I liked a lot. I really liked him, but
I couldn't do it.
But destroy him right from the get-go in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
Have Batman fight him, the one from the comic book, the Bane that we know. So that would be that would make it my dream film right from the jump if they did that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That would be really cool. Actually, that would be
tearing
really,
up Gotham and just running through, and him, Batman just using his grappling hook almost like he's Spider-Man. It's just
he'd have to do that because if Bane touches him, he's in deep.
Right.
You know what?
Right.
What?
Well, I mean, here's the thing: the few times Batman has beaten Bane in a physical hand-on-hand conflict, like he's had to use ingenuity involving cutting that venom supply going into Bane. And once he does that, he can take on Bane. But before he does that, Batman's like, "Oh snap!"
Right. Question, Mizzah Tee.
And this is a man who's at the peak physical condition, and he's like, "Oh shit, I can't beat this dude." I know many martial arts, but this dude is just a beast.
Question, Mizzah Tee.
Yes.
Do you really want the storyline of Frank Miller's Dark Knight in Superman, Batman vs Superman movie?
No, I want what's the word I'm looking for? I want the core kind of gist of it, but not word for word, page for page storyline ripped right out of it. No,
well, you couldn't do it.
That wouldn't work for me.
That was the 80s.
Right.
That was the 80s when that came out, and it was a different time.
Right. That's not going to work right now. So
Because
yeah,
No.
I just want the feel of that. Not even the feel even, but I just want the I can't think of the word I'm trying to use here.
I want a scenario where
The
Batman
essence,
is
if
gonna
you will,
be
the
drawing a
essence of that.
conflict.
Yes, yes.
the kind of scenario that I am having in my head that kind of drives on your idea is basically how Batman and Superman about how Batman and Superman first time meet in the animated series back in the 90s.
I don't remember. You want to elaborate? You want
Um,
to?
it was, I think it was a 3 special episode of Batman. Bruce Wayne flew to Metropolis and tried to investigate something, and from that point they met each other. And
Yes. The thing is, I don't think there's any solid things about it yet, but a lot of people are speculating. I think that's kind of what you're gonna get. I think after the disastrous effects of Superman fighting Zod and Metropolis and
yes,
all that happens, I think Batman's gonna get wind of that, and he's gonna want to go see what this Superman dude's all about. Because if you think about all the animated films with Batman and Superman and Justice League and all that, it's a lot of it has to do with Batman trying to control the Justice League because he's worried about the potential, especially with Superman.
Overpowered.
Right, he's worried about Superman's potential, especially. So if he goes the bad way, if he goes the wrong route, and I think that's going to be a lot of what you're going to get from this film. Is that I think a lot of people were upset about the Metropolis thing, but I think that will tie in really well to what's going to happen in Batman versus Superman. I think the destruction of Metropolis is going to be a big reason for Batman even coming over to see what's up with this Superman cat, and I think it's going to go from there. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, in the comics. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Triple M.
Well, there are 2 things I wanted to say. That I was looking at that viewpoint as well. So, I think someone already said that this could be a very good introduction for Lex Luthor to come in.
Right. Lex Luthor too, because he wants to maybe rebuild the city, and he's going to take advantage of the situation, and because he's a real estate guy, so he's going to come in with his billions and offer
get involved.
Get involved and offer his his assistance. Obviously thinly veiled. He has ulterior motives. But,
he's a criminal.
He's gonna paint maybe Superman as the bad guy here, and and maybe even to an extent be working with Bruce Wayne because they're both billionaires. So there might be some kind of camaraderie in the beginning with them. I mean, they could go really cool with this if they handle it right. So that would be really interesting if they took it that route.
Yeah. Well, in the comics. In the comics, the way the common trope that they've used, because they reboot DC like every 18 months. No, they do every 18 months they reboot the whole universe. It's weird. Like Marvel, the only time they rebooted Marvel was after the Civil War because they really messed up with that one. But generally speaking, like DC, which I mean, in some ways it gives DC more freedom, but in other ways it's like if you get attached to a certain run, you're just SOL once they reboot everything.
Yeah.
But in the normal trope they use in the DC 52s is the way Superman and Batman meet is like Wayne Enterprises is in some type of business deal with LexCorp.
Right.
And Bruce sees a discrepancy, and he goes to investigate, and that's how he gets to Metropolis.
Exactly.
And then he figures out, well, who's this superhuman doing all this weird, crazy shit in Metropolis? Because, and that's how it kind of goes off, which would actually make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
because if you
that's the route they need to go.
If you look at Man of Steel, a lot of the stuff that was destroyed had Wayne Enterprises on it.
And LexCorp and,
LexCorp and everything like that. So, maybe You never know.
Yeah, I
You
think,
know,
I
I'm
think they
not
were
gonna.
giving us little hints that that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna.
I just
have
hope
these
Zack
two
Snyder
villains.
doesn't direct it.
He's already directing it. So
Oh God.
yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Is that he's directing? He directed Man of Steel. He's gonna be directing Batman vs Superman, and he's also directing. He's already signed on for Justice League. So.
Oh.
That's what I was saying. You know, I can deal with him doing Batman vs Superman because in the beginning we just thought it was going to be a sequel to Man of Steel, but now we're realizing it's basically Justice League Origins. So that's fine. But I was hoping that we get a different
director
for the actual Justice League movie. You know, so
yeah, because I don't think Zack Snyder has the chops for that type of film.
Right, because you're going to be dealing with all these different characters, and I don't know
exactly.
if he's good.
And here's my second thing. The way how this Batman and Superman versus Superman came about, with the whole quote in that Frank Miller's book, that set off a freaking alarm for me. And just because I only know by that time I only know the synopsis of Frank Miller's book of The Dark Knight Returns. It's not just yesterday. Yes, just yesterday I saw part 1 and part 2 of Frank Miller's Dark Knight on cable, and let me tell you, I am not a fan of it.
Well, see, here's the thing. You have to realize something, okay? Frank Miller does dark gritty.
That's what he does.
That's what he does. He did look. After RoboCop came out, he did the book for RoboCop, dark gritty.
Yep.
He did Dark Knight Returns, which is actually the basis. It's what Tim Burton read and then did. He read that and then he said, I'm going to do the Batman and Batman Returns. That's what the basis for his thing.
And those are wonderful.
He didn't make it as dark as that is. Okay, he didn't make it as dark, but you have to realize something. The Dark Knight, if you've ever read it, and you can't really see. Here's the thing: you're going by what you saw on TV. You have to really read the comic. It's Batman when he's in his like 50s, and you have to remember Batman, despite all of his amazing acrobatic abilities and peak of human physics, he's still a human being. So he can get a certain age, and it's like, you know, like he's old at that point. His body is slow. He can't do all the stuff he used to do. He's got to. The greatest weapon that Batman has isn't his physical strength. It's not. It's his mind.
Yeah, it's
greatest weapon.
His ingenuity. His ingenuity.
Yeah, and we haven't gotten that yet in the movie yet. We haven't gotten the super detective Batman yet, and I think we're gonna get at least a little bit of that in this movie.
The closest we've got from Super Detective Batman, ironically, is from Tim Burton. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The closest we've gotten from Batman actually looking up stuff and figuring stuff out with his Bat computer.
Batman Returns. Batman Returns. Yeah.
The Bat computer figuring out stuff. That's the closest we've got. I mean, we've gotten Civil Liberties crashing Batman and Nolan's thing. We got Torture Batman and Nolan's thing. We got Gay Batman and Batman and Robin. Well, look, George Clooney said he was playing Batman as gay, so I'm just going with what he said. So, you know, I mean, but like, here's the thing. We very rarely get to see Batman as, like, the world's greatest detective, which is the title they give him in the comic books.
Right.
I'm not.
Yeah,
that's the subtitle in a lot of the comic books. World's greatest detective.
World's greatest detective. I mean, a lot of his stories doesn't have him going around punching people in the face.
No.
You know, that's why I'm going to tell you my favorite, like my ultimate film that they should, like, not now, but maybe in the next 10 years, do another Batman reboot. But this time, I would like to see them actually go for the detective route. Like, they could do a trilogy. The first movie would be like Batman trying to find out, like him, like coming back to the city after training. They wouldn't do all that retrofit weird stuff they did in Nolan's films, because that was just.
I'm thinking this is what they want to do, because, you know, Warner Brothers did hire Ben Affleck for, I don't know what the contract was, but he's hired on to them, so I would love for him to take on and direct his own Batman trilogy. I would love that, because he understands the nuance.
Yeah, well, the thing is that I would like to see them do a film where the first film, like Batman, is coming back to Gotham, a young Batman coming back to Gotham, and he's like, okay, he's taking out the normal criminals. Because at this point, there still aren't any, like, super criminals at this point yet. It's just like, you know, the mafia, the mob in Gotham City. And he's trying...
Well, they kind of did that with Batman Begins, I think.
They did that, but he's one of them. There's, like, many of them, okay? But... Yeah, like he's trying to go because you're going off of the movies and the animated series. You got to throw that out the window because there's so much other stuff. It's a bigger universe than just the movies. So, like,
well, see, this is trying to. Before you go into that, this is the problem, though, and I understand because I'm a comic book fan too, and so are you, obviously. But the thing is, the comic book fan makes up about 3% of the movie-going audience. So
which is a darn shame.
They have to go after the movie-going audience over the comic book fan. We're in tune. We're gonna go watch the movie because we're already fans. So they're not gonna overly cater to us. They have to bring in people who don't necessarily know that world. They don't know all the little crime bosses and all that stuff.
Into it. Right. I understand that. I'm just simply saying, like, we've already gone over Falcone. So here was what I was thinking. Batman who's the first? Look, the whole reason he's Batman is because a criminal killed his parents. So first thing he does, he's going to find out who killed his parents. Right. So he's like shaking down all these mafia people. And every time he tries to go through legitimate channels, he gets shut down. People are like, it's a cover-up. All these powerful mafia people are covering up for someone. And that, like, the whole movie is him trying to find out who's covering it up. And then, like, you go through all of these twists and turns. I'm not going to go over the script. Twists and turns. At the end, he finds out who did it, and he gives the man his identity and leaves him alone. The dude can't believe that the dude who's been messing with all these criminals in Gotham City is Bruce Wayne. And he goes out and he tells, like, some criminal dudes, the dude whose parents I killed, he's the Batman. And they kill the dude because he's the source of the reason why the Batman exists. This is the dude who caused all their misery. And the criminals themselves killed this guy. That would be like the total ending. Like, he would get to that point. And then the second movie would be like, you'd start introducing supervillains and crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, I think even the second movie would be too soon to introduce supervillains. I probably wouldn't show them up until maybe the third one. Or at least at the end of part two. End of part two. You get a supervillain or something like that.
The first one they had, well, maybe at the end of the first one, you can end with already done Bane, and no one's done Bane good yet. Mr. Freeze was done badly.
Let's do Mr. Freeze. Let's do
Mr. Freeze. Like Victor Freeze. I don't know. Mr. Freeze could work. Mr. Freeze could work if they did him. If they did him in the comic books.
Right. Because he's way more cerebral than than Arthur.
Yeah. If they do him like they did in the comic books, where he's like he doesn't have emotions, but he wants to save his wife.
Right.
That would be Dr. Freeze.
Hold on. What about this? What about this villain? Crap, I forgot the name. It's this villain. He's a ventriloquist, and he's using the puppet as the.
Man.
Or Clayface. No.
Puppet Man.
Puppet Man, yeah.
Is that the dummy? Like the dummy is its own separate person.
I don't know if that's a great name.
Yeah, he's well, I mean, that's one of the reasons I kind of didn't like Nolan's film is because he starts right off the bat with like villains that aren't really all that like Batman is constantly running up to the Scarecrow and punching him in the face and knocking him out. I mean, he's not like, oh, this is one of my top villains. Well, he should have ended the trilogy with the Joker.
He was a top villain. If you look at it,
that would have been.
Dark Knight Rises. He was a joke in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
by the time he got to that movie, so Scarecrow was not a top villain at all. I mean, he was.
No, he wasn't. And
he was easily handled.
Actually, he never was.
Yeah, and here's the thing: he's always easily handled. Yeah, like Batman has his rogues gallery, but there's like the top tier list of dudes, and then there's like the throwaway people, and then they're like Batman looks at them hard, and they just go back to jail. They're like, oh, I don't want to get my ass kicked. Here's the keys. I'm locking myself in my cell. Bye. Like those are, and Scarecrow's in that second tier, and some of the henchmen are in that third tier. Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'd like to see.
Like, what about the villains from Batman Arkham Origins? Even a lot of those guys. That were,
let's see. Clayface is cool. Clayface could work, but the thing about Clayface is the amount of special effects you'd have to do to get him done right.
Yeah, it'd be some Incredible Hulk
That'd be
stuff.
a nightmare.
Yeah, Killer Croc would be cool.
Killer Croc.
Hugo Strange would work too. They could always do Slade, but Slade is just people don't.
Yeah.
Slade is not known enough. People know him more in terms with like other characters in the DC universe than Batman. Even though, like Batman, at some point, Batman's tangled with almost everyone.
What?
Literally, he's fought almost everyone, or figured out a way to fight everyone.
What about what's his name? The sniper.
Bullseye, not Bullseye.
Not Bullseye. You gotta be saying Bullseye.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm drawing blanks.
Deadshot.
Deadshot. Thank you.
Deadshot.
Yeah, Deadshot. Deadshot could work, but it's they need to pick, because like you said, they need to pick people that you would be kind of familiar with. So I'm guessing maybe like the end of the second movie could end with like Batman, like. Well, it could be like a dude whose second in command is like a well-known Batman villain, but before they're well-known. Like, it could be like Cobblepot.
Right.
Like, Cobblepot's like a henchman, and like the dude, like some dude's give me this, and he knocks it out of Cobblepot's hands. Kind of like how they're doing with the Gotham TV show right now.
Right.
Except Cobblepot's a little too psychotic already.
Right.
It's like once you know the Penguin's backstory, it's like, well, damn, no wonder he's such an asshole, you know?
Right.
If my parents threw me in the sewer, I'd be kind of pissed too. You know? I mean, I understand why he's angry. I mean, so what? You're a genetic freak. I don't know what to say to you. You're deformed.
But that was Tim Burton's take, though. The actual Penguin is not his backstory wasn't like that.
No, they have retcon. They have flipped that table so many times. That's why I said the new.
Once Tim Burton did his thing, they changed it. But
they changed it. In the original, he was just some dude who wore a tuxedo and an overcoat and had the little short the machine gun in the umbrella, which is pretty cool.
They called him Penguin because he wore a penguin.
Yeah.
That's why they called him Penguin, because he was in a penguin suit. He was a rich guy with a
hot belly.
Yeah. So.
And the weird laugh, the high society laugh. Is that the best you've got?
And like in the game, he has a broken bottle as a the bottom half of a broken bottle as his eyepiece, which is that's harsh.
Look, listen. The Penguin is one of those villains that like you don't see, like he doesn't seem to be that threatening, but he's actually like, if you underestimate the Penguin,
you do so at your own peril.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason he's one of the big six in Gotham City.
Right.
I mean, you don't get to be one of the big six and be like, well, I'm just some guy. How's it going? It's just me, just some guy. And if you don't know who the big six are, Catwoman, Joker, Riddler, Penguin, Poison Ivy, and Killer Croc. They're the big six. Mm-hmm. They're the dudes who divided up. They're the dudes who divided up the city.
I really thought Ra's al Ghul would be in the big six, but I guess that's
no.
See, that's where Nolan made a mistake. See, he just picked some random villains and then built up the first movie around them. Ra's al Ghul is like he's not even the only way he's not even tangentially related to Batman unless you count the fact that he's Batman's rape child from his daughter's grandfather.
I love it how you put that into words.
Talia is his daughter, and she flipped a roofie to Batman, and she had a kid named Damian. But here's the thing: her father's the head of the Assassins, and she's batshit crazy. So the son would probably, and Batman's not all too stable himself. So two unstable people have a kid.
That kid's in trouble. His name is and his name is Son of the Devil.
Yeah. Hence why they call him Damian Wayne. Yeah. When Batman got sucked into alternate dimensions and Robin had to don the cowl and the cape, Basically, Damian Wayne became the new Robin, but he's batshit crazy. So literally in this case, he's batshit crazy. So when Batman came back, it's like there's only one Batman. I'm sorry. It's like in the Marvel universe, there's many different people who have worn the Spider-Man costume, but when most people say who's Spider-Man, you'll say it's Peter Parker. Like who's Batman? It's Bruce Wayne.
Wayne.
Right.
It's like there's other dudes who have worn that, but when you say Batman, you think Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, because he's the original Batman.
Right. He'll always be Batman. Like I'm not gonna ever accept anybody else other than Bruce.
I'm not accepting Robin. Look, I like Robin. He's cool, and when he did an okay job. He wasn't terrible, but he's not. Look, you're not Bruce Wayne, dude.
Yeah, just because you put the suit on don't make you Batman to me. Like you can.
The only. Yeah, you're right. There's only one person that kind of took up the mantle pretty well, and that was Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond. Yeah. That's because that was like a totally new Batman. He wasn't trying to be because look, Bruce Wayne was too old at that point. He just couldn't do it. He's like, look, I'm an old, broke down old man. I mean, if I put in on this mecha armor, I can mess you up, but it's only good for like 15 minutes before I have a heart attack. So
you know what? Speaking about donning the mask, how about the Flash?
Yeah, you mean the show?
The show?
Or are you just talking
the reboot of the show?
I haven't seen the show yet, but let's just talk about the character itself.
The Flash is a little too. See, the thing is that the Flash is a little too lighthearted for WB right now because everything they're trying to do. They tried to go lighthearted with the Green Lantern.
Yeah, that was
kind of, sort of, and that didn't work well for them.
But you know, that's not even fair because the lightheartedness was so poorly written. You know.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's one.
That's what I don't like because they'll do something and they'll blame it on that thing that they tried, but the trying was so terrible.
It's how they did it. Yeah, it's how it's not what they did. It's how they executed it.
Exactly. But they look at it as, oh, we try to go lighthearted with it and it didn't work. But no, you didn't write a good lighthearted story. That's the problem, you know.
I mean, to me personally,
you had a giant turd come to the, as the villain. That might have something to do with it.
I'll be frank with you. My favorite. The thing is, to me, that film shouldn't have been the, Jordan Sparks version of the Green Lantern. It should have been the John Stewart.
You mean Hal Jordan? You said Jordan Sparks. I'm like, what?
Yeah, sorry, Hal Jordan. It should have been the Hal Jordan version of Green Lantern. It should have been the John Stewart version of Green Lantern, in my opinion.
Probably, because that's who everybody knew at this time. Everybody
not just
John Stewart.
He's just more of a. I'm sorry, I just find him to be a cooler Green Lantern than Hal Jordan. I don't know. The whole creating an entire planet through sheer willpower with your ring is so cool. Then hey, look, man, I made an airplane that shoots missiles at people. I mean, that's cool.
I know what you're asking though. You're asking Hollywood to hand a multi-million-dollar movie and have a lead black actor. I don't know if
that's who's not Will Smith.
That doesn't happen very often. Yeah, that's not Will Smith, especially. We don't want Will Smith as John Starks. John Stewart. So that's
I think he could have pulled it off. Give him some gray like he had in what's his name?
You would have had to shave his ears down or something. That was
where's the vampires? No, I mean the thing is this. Like that would have been, in my opinion, and I know this is a pipe dream because Hollywood doesn't like taking bets on minority actors very often.
Right. It's not just black; it's minority. Period. Like
minority. If it doesn't have, and I hate to say this,
Asian too. It's Asian too.
Well, I mean, they love to, and I did a video on this a while ago. The Anglicization, where they just make every minority character in history, they turn them into a white person, and I find that offensive.
God, man!
I find that offensive. I'm sorry. Like I don't like the fact that they're doing an Egypt film where all of the good people are white and all of the Egyptians are black. I'm like, I hate to break this to you, but you do know that Egypt was in Africa, right?
In this day and age, I accept it more with Cleopatra and Elizabeth Taylor back in the day, that was a typical Hollywood movie, a big budget Hollywood movie back then. You had the you had people playing different races that weren't those races.
Well, you had Native Americans that were actually white people.
Right.
That was a
that
little
happened
bit
all the time. But we're past the year 2000 here.
Oh my God! I'm getting that vision of T-Hawk in that Street Fighter Van Damme movie. Oh, sweet Lord!
A white guy. See, here's the thing that gets me. It's like okay, they did The Last Samurai. Now, I don't know if you know this, but if you go to Japan, they don't like passing down stuff to people who aren't Japanese. Like they're not just gonna oh yeah well you're so honorable Mr. White Guy, here you can have a samurai sword that's like really friggin' expensive and only really given to our most illustrious warriors. We'll give you training. Yeah, and now you're the last samurai.
I will say one
effect, it's the Pocahontas effect.
I will say one thing in defense of this. There is at least one I shouldn't say outsider, but dang it, I'm gonna say it. An outsider that is one of the best. Oh crap! What was that sport again?
Martial artists.
No. Oh crap!
Kendo.
No, not kendo, and it's kendo, but yeah. Oh, great! I'm having a brain fart here. I can't believe it.
Ninjutsu?
No. Oh my gosh! I can't believe I'm going to describe this in the most dumbest ways. But it's very big fat people.
Sumo?
Yes.
Sumo.
Oh my god! I can't even remember four-letter words. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the sumo wrestlers now. I mean, like I won't say all of them, but a lot of them now are Polynesian in origin, like from South Korea, a few Chinese, but still 60% of it is like Japanese people. So
they're not Samoan?
Well, what I'm saying, Polynesian in origin, so that includes Samoan and like.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say because I was just making a little joke because E Honda was definitely Samoan in that movie.
I knew you were gonna go there.
He was Samoan. You're absolutely right. I mean, just, yeah. The thing is, well, in the Street Fighter lore, he's half English. He's half English, half his real name is Edmund Honda. So his father was English, his mother was Japanese. I'm like, really? Because I mean, I saw this movie called Ricky Tora, and it tells about this dude who was half Japanese, half Korean, and the horrific stuff he had to go through. And this dude is like considered a sumo like legend, like a sumo hero. And this dude got the shit kicked out of him at his sumo dojo every day.
I just want to say before we get into that is that we've been getting on the anglicizing of certain characters in Hollywood movies, but we can't, as black people especially, give ourselves a pass because when we get movies like that, we don't come out for them. When we get a movie like a superhero film that has that stars a black actor, we don't come out. We'll come out for that shucking and jiving that what's his name does
Tyler Perry.
We'll come out for that. But we wouldn't come out to see a Jon Stewart Green Lantern film. So
I would.
Of course.
I would go for it.
The people in this podcast, of course, would. But I mean, overall, as a whole, black people don't come out for those kind of movies. So we got to take some of that blame too. As far as
I saw Catwoman. Look, you can't blame me. I saw Catwoman with.
I'm just saying, black people as a whole, we don't come out for these films that we should come out for.
It's not my fault that film was
black
bad.
actors. Maybe Hollywood would make those movies more if we came out for them, like we come out for Tyler Perry crap.
I saw him talk. Okay, all those films I saw. Look, it's like you want to force a needle into my eye to see these bad films. I watch these films. I watched them to support black actors, and I thought they would be good.
Right.
And I was disappointed.
No, I don't go out for that stuff. Like.
I've seen bad white actors in superhero films, so I can't really. I mean, look, I like Ryan Reynolds. I think he'd do an excellent Deadpool, but that Green Lantern movie was.
I don't. But again, that Green Lantern movie wasn't Ryan Reynolds' fault.
No, it wasn't. That was WB putting their hands into things, which is why my original point in my last podcast. Look, let the people who build worlds. I mean, that's what comic book people do. Their whole thing is leaving little trails so that to lead you up to a major event down the road.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Martin Campbell was not the right director for that film.
No, he wasn't. No, and plus it was way too heavily CGI.
Right. Oh God, there's way too much CG in that movie. Way too much.
You know what?
I mean, it was just.
I must admit, I actually did find intriguing about the Green Lantern's CGI mask. That actually blew me away in a positive way, but in the long run, I can see, yeah, this might not pan out very, very well.
The thing is that CGI is, you have to use it judiciously. If you use so much CGI that your eyes basically, like, if you use a little bit of CGI, your eyes can really take it. I mean, it's one of the reasons why Godzilla the movie wasn't as people, like, even though you only saw that awesome boss fight at the end where you really got to see the monsters fighting, that people really got into. But the CGI was used so sparingly that you were like, okay, that's a giant monster. That's Godzilla destroying something. That's this happening. But with the Green Lantern, there was so much CGI that your eyes, after about 10 or 15 minutes, like, this is fake.
And it was so cartoony.
Fake.
Like, it was cartoony. It wasn't even like good CGI. But here's the main problem.
Yeah.
That most people don't get. Like, again, I'm a former film student. I graduated film school, so I know these things. Like, the thing with the CGI and Green Lantern especially, like, some of the close-up shots with like Ryan Reynolds when he was going through the training and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
When you do that, the background has to be blurred out because you're doing a deep focus with the
absolutely right.
Blur the background out. It looks completely fake as hell, and they didn't blur the background.
Cartoon. It
right.
looked like a cartoon. It looked like you were watching a cartoon. And the worst part,
that one movie, the Wachowski brothers movie, based on that cartoon from the '70s, Speed Racer. Like Speed Racer. That's what I started feeling. I started getting a Speed Racer vibe from that movie because a lot of that stuff was really cartoony because they didn't do the deep focus and stuff that you would get from a real camera.
Yeah, but Speed Racer is kind of supposed to be cartoony.
Right. I mean, that was fine for. That's what I'm saying. It was fine for Speed Racer, but not for Green Lantern. It wasn't fine.
Yeah. Well, the hilarious thing that I found about all of it was just like CGI. Like, I remember when CGI was like something that was really like, it's almost in all comic book sci-fi films now. I remember when CGI was like really special. Remember when Jurassic Park was like heavily CGI? We saw the CGI dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But
and you know what? That wasn't as much CGI as we remembered. If you actually there was a lot of animatronics in that movie too.
Yeah, it was a lot at the time, but now you look at it, but it stands up compared to a lot of modern films now because they use just enough CGI.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
They used enough. It wasn't like, oh my God,
right.
we don't need to make an actual practical special effect. We'll just CGI it in there,
Yep. You're exactly right. That's the difference. That is the difference.
Just enough. It's kind of like makeup. A woman wearing too much makeup, it makes it look worse. When she wears just enough, it's perfect. It's like, damn, baby, you look fine.
Yeah, she got to wear just enough and just a little enough to where you don't even realize she has makeup on.
Exactly.
That's when she's hit that sweet spot,
That's when she hit that sweet spot. You're like, damn, shit. But anyway, so I guess we should, I guess we all went over any final thoughts before we close it up? We hit DC a lot. Marvel's been doing pretty well, so we don't need to kick them in the throat. They learned their lesson.
Yeah, they're that's a well-oiled machine over there.
There's one thing I actually
they figured it out.
There's actually one thing I want to bring up from the last podcast, and with Mizzah Tee, it's me and Red Fox discussion when it comes to the score of Man of Steel, which is the theme score for Man of Steel, which Mr. Red Fox says that it doesn't have anything of Superman in it, which
yeah.
I disagree. Which actually does.
No,
have
I'm just saying, if it doesn't have the John Williams score, I don't consider it to be a Superman film. And I know what some people are going to say. It was different. Look, listen. I know
there was a
this
Superman before there was a John Williams score.
I know, but here's the thing, okay? Superman. I mean, here's the thing, okay? You're a comic book fan. You know Superman originally was. He didn't have he didn't have blue, red, and yellow as his colors. He was kind of a D-bag, actually. He wasn't very nice. And he was, you know, he wasn't as overpowered as he later became in the Silver and Golden Age forms. But, I mean, the thing is this, okay? Superman for the last, like, 50, 60 plus years, an uplifting style character, right? You don't read Superman comic books, oh man, that was a downer. Except in the 90s when they killed Superman, and then they brought him back like a year later. But anyway, like, I don't want to watch Superman where I feel depressed when I walk out of the film. Like, this movie was not uplifting whatsoever. What type of Superman movie is this where I don't feel any type of uplifting? And I know what some people are going to say. Well, you know, it didn't start with John Williams. Look, Superman back in the day with, like, George Reeves, uplifting. The serials, uplifting. John Williams, uplifting. Heck, even the animated series, uplifting. Then we get this guy, and I'm like, this film is just not really doing anything for me. I know some people, they're going to love that musical score. I thought it was not very good. I like Hans Zimmer in The Lion King, though, but...
Yeah.
Which is...
Can I respond to that?
Go ahead.
Hold on, Mr.
Yeah, go ahead, Triple.
Before you do, because this is what this is the clash between me and Mr. Red Fox. Now he said the animated series, which Shirley Walker did the theme music for the animated series, and Mizzah Tee said, Mr. Red Fox said it himself that Shirley Walker's version theme is actually an homage to John Williams. But then,
it is.
Yes, but then Hans Zimmer's way is kind of resemblance to Shirley Walker, and that's to me, and that's basically, hey, Hans Zimmer is also homage to John Williams' Superman, which Mr. Red Fox can't feel it, which I do.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good way to look at it too. I'm gonna give a completely different perspective, and I'm gonna start it off by completely agreeing with Mr. Red Fox, but I'm gonna come away at the end of it. I'm gonna completely disagree, if that makes any sense. Bear with me here. All right, I think you're 100% right as far as how Superman, Man of Steel made you feel. The score was not up to the standards built by the character of Superman over these many years.
Right.
And I totally agree with that. But here, let me offer a artist perspective on this thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm even going to a Batman here, the Nolan trilogy. I remember early on, I think probably right after Batman Begins happened, people were kind of talking the same way about, oh man, we don't about the Batman score. People were basically saying that he didn't have that superhero kind of sound in the Batman score. And Nolan's response was, well, this is the beginning of Batman. He's not there yet. You know, he's not that the Batman superhero that we're used to yet. He's learning who he is, basically. And and in hindsight, that was probably lip service because we still didn't get that score. But
nope, we didn't.
I'm hoping.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that that's exactly what's going on here with Superman, and I'm hoping that we will get that score. This is Superman Begins right now. He's still learning. Yeah. There's a lot of hints in the movie itself talking about Superman not knowing where he wants to go. Both of his dads are, trying to mold him to be this great man. That he isn't that man yet. He's still learning. You know, if you think about what Jonathan Kent was trying to get him to do, was to make sure, because he was afraid. He was afraid of Superman's power. He was afraid of Clark's powers, and he wanted to make sure that him fighting the bullies and stuff didn't turn him into I have all this power. I'm gonna be this bad guy, and I'm gonna try to control all these situations. So I'm thinking that he's still trying to learn out, figure out who he is. Like, he's not quite Jor-El yet. This is where he needs to be. He's not quite Jor-El yet. And when he gets to that Jor-El status is when we'll get the Superman that we've known for these last 30, 40, 50 years. And you'll get that score. Hopefully. This is what I would do as an artist if I was in control of this. I would totally have gone with the Hans Zimmer thing. I like the score. I don't love it, but I feel like it is a stepping stone. The same thing with Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
There's gripes about her costume, but I feel, again, from an artist's perspective, I would have done the same thing, because this is Wonder Woman Begins. This isn't Wonder Woman. This isn't the full, Princess Diana. This isn't the Wonder Woman yet. So
they're stacking their origin movies into. They're rolling it up in the other origin.
Exactly. That's my hope, and I think that's what's going on.
I hope so too.
And ultimately, that could, obviously the Nolan films didn't give us that score. It didn't give us that. Oh, I love the Batman. The first Batman film score, and who was that? That was what's Danny Elfman. I love Danny Elfman's Batman score. And I'm hoping that we get it.
It is, when I think of Batman,
I always end up humming that score from the old movies and the old TV series, the old animated film. I love that score. When I think about Batman, I always end up humming that. So hopefully, we'll graduate to some kind of a melding between John Williams and Hans Zimmer's ultimate Superman, the superhero that we all love, score, the uplifting superhero at the end. So that's my take.
Hopefully, knock on wood. Hopefully, knock on wood. The only reason look, listen, I understand where you're coming from, and you have such strong faith.
It's not really a faith.
You must have stolen a little bit of faith.
No, I'm not saying that it's what happened. I'm just saying that from an artist's perspective, and a lot of times
that's what you would like to see,
right? And that's what a lot of times these artists, that's what they're going for. Nolan might have been truthful as far as him wanting to build up to that score, but he doesn't control everything. In the end.
No.
The studio might have said, no, we don't want to go with this, or we don't want to go with that. They make the ultimate decision. So he might have, as an artist, wanted to do what he wanted to do. It might not have been lip service, but he might not have been able to do what he wanted to do ultimately. So we got to take that into account as well.
Sucks.
I think it was lip service, because he personally asked for Hans Zimmer. He personally asked for Hans Zimmer for a music for Dark Knight in all those 3 films. And when he came on board for Man of Steel, he brought over with him Hans Zimmer. And the thing is, I liked Hans Zimmer when he did the music for Lion King. But I
like Hans Zimmer. He's not one of my favorite,
Yeah, he's here's the thing. He didn't make the music of my childhood. Didn't have the Indiana Jones song. It's like, this shit ain't Indiana Jones.
Right.
I mean, where's the the John Williams score? No John Williams.
I mean, I feel like that would be amazing if they did that. If they did do what I'm saying, if they did, mire it, because he's trying to figure out who he is as Superman. That's why he's going to be battling Batman in the next film. I think that's part of it. He's going to get a little dark. He's going to get a little bit full of himself. And Batman's going to have to knock him down a notch.
Well, if anyone can knock Superman down a notch.
Right. And then I hope the next.
They said
Superman
Batman's
film,
the one they fear.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
I like where you're going.
Yeah.
I like where you're going.
And you know what? That's what I've been trying to say to Mr. Red Fox, but I guess my wording.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
No.
First, you tried to say that Hans Zimmer was trying to do an homage to the anime. Look, listen. This is coming from someone. I like old stuff. I have retro systems. I have a record player. I like listen and hear where like I have old records. I have old 45s, man. I have old blues records. I can literally hear how the music has changed.
Hold on, Mr.
I can hear music that the Beatles that influenced a lot of their music. Trust me.
Hold on, Mr. Red.
Zimmer film sounded anything like an homage to John Williams.
Hold on. I'm not sure. Did you not hear me? That I specifically stated that this is before Clark Kent becoming Superman. I know I said that in the podcast, in that last podcast. All right, maybe not at the time that I was saying about the music, but I was explaining it in that route. So,
okay.
So I will say I will apologize if I didn't if I did not choose my wordings correctly.
Yeah, and I don't want the exact John Williams score back. I feel like it should be a melding of the two. I definitely want that same, dun 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 dun, all that stuff, that high pitched dun 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 dun, all that. But I want it to be kind of a mixture of those two, the newer way and that old John Williams score. I think that would be good.
Yeah, and here's the thing: every now and then, when I listen to when I want to listen to a Superman theme song, I actually got a bunch of them, not just John Williams. I have the 1941's version, the John Williams 87, and even Shirley Walker's animated series from 96. And
she also did the theme music for Batman and Superman Adventures and Justice League. So, I mean, Shirley Williams, I'm not going to do any harm against what she did because she captured the essence of these superheroes very well.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
In the music.
I'm sorry, Mr. Red Fox. I have to correct you. It's actually Shirley Walker.
Shirley Walker.
Not Shirley Williams. Right.
Okay. But she still did the music for also Justice League Unlimited and Justice League and Batman and Robin. It's not Batman. Batman and Superman Adventures. Either way, she managed to capture and encapsulate. She did an homage because I don't think they could get the rights to the music for the Superman thing, but they just kind of she did an homage to that music, and you could tell that she was like still trying to capture that uplifting music, which was awesome to me because I thought that was awesome.
Well, yeah, they used John Williams in Superman Returns, so I don't see why they couldn't.
Well, for the animated series, because their budget was a lot. They have a certain amount
series, that would have been
the animated series. She did an homage, but in Superman Returns, they did. And I mean, Superman Returns wasn't a terrible movie, but it was literally you could open any Superman comic book from the last 50 years, like issue run, and find that story.
Yeah.
And that was that movie. Yeah. It was very cut and paste.
Yeah, but that's the problem with Superman Returns. It wasn't a bad movie. Like, it would have been perfect if it was Superman 3 that came out in 1984 or something. That would have been a really good movie, back then. But that was the problem, is that, what's his name? Bryan Singer was too invested. He was giving too much love to, what's his name? First two films.
Richard Donner.
Richard Donner's right. First two films, and that's great. I love the fact that he loved Richard Donner's Superman movies, which I do too. But he had to do his own thing as well, and he didn't really do that. He just
didn't deviate enough.
He was Lex Luthor was too similar.
He was too Lex Luthor.
He was too. Yeah, he was just what we wanted more after having stuff like the X-Men movies and all that stuff play out.
Well, it was a story we had seen before.
Right, it was too similar.
Yeah,
it was way too similar.
It was a cut and dry. Like I said, any comic book, any Superman story. Lex Luthor has found Superman Fortress of Solitude and stolen kryptonite land crystals. He's going to do something with them.
And all the holes in that plot. He's lifting a land mass made of kryptonite. Not gonna happen.
It's it's like, we've seen this before. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing
Lex
is,
Luthor
Superman is
still
a hard
doing
character.
a real estate scheme, another real estate scheme. I mean, come on,
It's always a real estate scheme. See, the thing is that Superman is a hard character to write, okay?
Yeah.
It's like either you do his origin story or you do him meeting the new Kryptonians, like Zod and the rest of them. Because basically, Superman, he's Superman. Either that or you're gonna have everyone's gonna have kryptonite. Even some old lady's gonna have some kryptonite in a purse and pull out on him. I mean, basically. How do you make a movie where he has to break through limits when Superman, technically speaking, almost has no limits?
Right. I mean, the Superman films have been afraid of Superman's villains, the other ones. There's other villains outside of Lex Luthor, and we haven't explored any of them.
We don't have a Brainiac. I thought Man of Steel, if they had done the opening differently, would have done really great with Brainiac.
Or what's his name that killed Superman?
Doomsday.
Darkseid.
Thank you.
No, Doomsday. Darkseid would work too. No, but
right.
maybe they'll save him for the Justice League movie. Like official Justice League movie.
We got a little hint of Bizarro, I think, in Superman 3. I don't, if you want to call it that.
Personally, I would love if that movie, they could have slipped it in Man of Steel. Like, okay, our supercomputer is telling us that Krypton will be fine. and then like when it's breaking apart, the supercomputer like activates a chamber and it flies away while the planet just destroys itself. Right. That would have been the perfect setup. We'd be set. We would know we were getting a Brainiac movie later on. No questions about it. Because Brainiac is one of the few villains who, unlike Lex Luthor, who just for some reason Superman just
not killed.
Just won't.
We still can't get a Brainiac because thanks to the colonization by those other Kryptonians, they can work a story out of that that would lead us to Brainiac. So
I'm just saying, Brainiac would be the perfect villain.
Yeah, I mean he is Superman's probably best villain.
Yeah. Well, he's the other last son of Krypton. There's two of them.
Right.
It's him and Brainiac. Although I don't think Brainiac should count. He's such a deep bag.
In a way, I wish they actually incorporate Supergirl or even Power Girl in the Superman movie.
I don't think we're ever going to see Supergirl again.
Nope. After we saw that movie with Peter O'Toole, nope.
Yeah,
never.
I don't think it's going to happen. Because most of the movie-going audience, all they know is that movie. They don't know her as a comic book character. All they know is Supergirl movie.
Which you know what? I wish Warner Brothers, and I mean the top brass up there, have the
we need a TV show or something with her to rebuild her for the casual audience because they don't know anything.
Yeah. But it's hard. Like, if they were going to do a TV show, it would be another thing like Smallville. And frankly speaking, after seeing angsty, whiny, crybaby Superman in Smallville, and kind of sort of in Man of Steel for like half of it, I can't deal with another angsty, whiny superhuman. I can't deal with it. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I mean, he's the Man of Steel, and yet you turn him into a whiny little baby. I can't deal with it again. I can't do it. I can't.
You thought it was whiny? I never got it whiny from him.
He was a little whiny. He was a little, well, not like whiny, like, yeah, but like just really pouty and like, come on, man.
I think up until like Jonathan Kent's death, in the flashbacks, he was maybe a little whiny.
Yeah.
But once he became, Superman, Clark, once he became Clark, when he was on his own and, doing all those odd jobs everywhere, I don't think he was whiny at that point.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. They're not gonna do another Supergirl movie.
Yeah, Supergirl.
They might do a TV show. They might put her into. They might have her as a cameo in Arrow or
Flash.
Yeah.
But
they're not another Supergirl. Nope. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I just wanted to say this. Hopefully, the top brass will finally have the effing balls to
balls.
actually do that.
Nope, because they're looking at dollars and cents, and they saw that last movie was a bomb, even though it happened like almost 30 years ago now, or a little less, almost 26, 27 years ago, and they're like,
2 decades ago.
Nope, we're not going through that again. You saw how long it took before we saw a reboot of what was it called? Jesus, what was a movie that flopped spectacularly, and we just saw a reboot recently? Shoot, I forgot the name of it, but
Which one?
I mean,
dang. Tell me the character.
It's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me probably after this podcast is over. So basically, all I'm saying is this: they aren't going to do it again. They aren't gonna do it again. You know what they're going to do? Tell you what, because Warner Brothers is run by the studio, not the comic book people.
Right.
Like their comic book movies are run by the studio, not the comic book people.
Yep.
The comic book people at Marvel were like, okay, these Hulk movies bombed, but we still need to build a Hulk. We need to establish Hulk as a presence in this cineverse.
Right. They took that L and kept moving.
Yeah, we're gonna absorb these 2 films and we're gonna keep it rolling.
Right.
Warner Brothers they're not gonna do that. They're like, they had one good film this year. I think they bankrolled the Godzilla film, which did pretty well for them. Not great, pretty well.
I'm surprised it even did that well.
Oh no! Oh, you don't like Godzilla?
It wasn't as bad as that abomination that was the last Godzilla film. So, but that's like saying,
well, come on, that's not fair. They're not even in the same league.
Yeah,
that's not even. I mean, that's not hard to do. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could get my little toy Godzilla collection and make a better Godzilla film than that film from '98. So, I mean, that's not really hard. I could ship him some stuff. He could do some stuff with some action figures that would make that film. Put it in I mean, I could give him $5. He could come.
Don't want a green screen and just let me go. I'll hook it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's not hard to do. The reason that movie bombed was because basically you had a director who didn't really appreciate the source material and thought he knew better than anyone else.
Right. And he was too much in love. He was too much in love with Jurassic Park. Let's just throw that out there.
Well, that, and he was just way too. He was like, "I'm going to make Godzilla sexy." I was like, "Oh, you don't." Because I remember I was so excited because I was and still am a huge Godzilla fan, and I watched. What?
No, it's just saying we didn't get Godzilla. We got Iguanazilla.
Yeah, we did. We got Hermaphrodite and Godzilla. And
that's what's pissing me off.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. But anyway, look, I hate to say this. Godzilla's a dude. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Godzilla's a dude. He's a dude. He's a dude. He's also a really good father, but he's a dude. Okay.
Gadzuki.
Yeah. Well. No, Jesus, no. With Brock. You notice all those Hanna-Barbera cartoons in the 70s had the same people doing the same voices.
Oh man.
So it all ran together.
Yeah, I thought I was the only one that noticed that.
Scott and Crothers did like 5 characters. That's right, Godzuki. I'm Hong Kong Fooey. You know, I know these people, the characters ran together eventually. But anyway, no, the thing that destroyed that movie is that people just didn't understand that. I mean, Godzilla's not supposed to be sexy. Godzilla is this indomitable. It's a force of nature. It's like a hurricane. A hurricane is not sexy. A hurricane's like, it's coming. It's gonna hit landfall. We're gonna have a lot of damage. We can either run or bunker down. That's it. That's all you can do.
You know what, Mr. Red Fox? There are some people, and I say weathermans, they actually do find Storm pretty darn sexy.
Well, I mean, as a longtime Godzilla fan, Godzilla has never been the most terrifying you'll get in Godzilla is the original Godzilla that was in black and white, and the reason it worked was because it was the message they were getting across. And like Gareth Edwards, he's smart. He stole from the original Godzilla. Like, you didn't see Godzilla in the original film until you were like halfway through the film.
That's right.
And it was like, oh man, it was shocking. You know, like you saw bits and pieces. You didn't see the monsters actually fighting until you saw a clip on TV. It was like, oh wow, they're fighting. Oh, that's true. Cool.
I love that. I love that.
Well, it's kind of like Richard Donner. Well, he kind of did, and then they fired him in the middle of shooting and switched over to some other guy who made it a little too silly. But
who made
in the second,
3 and 4, which were terrible.
No, in the second one.
Yeah. They fired him. He was pretty close. He was about 80% done.
He was almost done, and they got some other guy. But there's a part in that movie, because the special effects weren't there yet, where they couldn't show Superman fighting. So they had him, like they inferred in the sewer that he was finally fighting that big muscular dude. And you know, Superman figured out in that film he wasn't like, there was 3 of them, there was 1 of him. No matter how strong he was, they would always overpower him. So he used his intellect to beat them.
Yeah.
But you know,
I just want to say the only thing from Superman 2 that wasn't Donner was that whole Paris crap. That wasn't
the
Donner.
Paris
and
blowing the people down the street, and that was the other
ending.
guy.
Most of the ending wasn't him, right?
No. I saw the director's cut, and everyone's like, "Well, Superman killed Zod." Not in the Richard Donner ending, he didn't.
No, he basically just did what he did in part 1.
They went to jail, son.
Yeah.
Booyah! So don't tell me it's okay. Yeah, he killed that guy. Wait. He didn't even kill Zod in the comic books till their 3rd or 4th meeting.
Right.
I mean, you gotta really piss off Superman until he kills you. You know, you gotta exhaust all the options. He's not like Batman back in the day who would like, whoops, I snapped your neck. Oh, I shot you. You know, Batman used to carry a gun and just accidentally go off and he'd bust a cap in someone's behind.
Right.
The Batman now is a lot nicer than Batman back in the day, believe it or not.
Oh, this is what I wanted to ask you. Okay, the whole snapping the neck of Zod. What did you find that did not click for you?
I actually had no problem with that because of the situation that he was in. Maybe I don't like the situation, but you know, I felt like, you know, what else could he do at that point? You know, let those people die or take Zod out. That was his options. And I feel like Superman would have done everything he could do to save the people. So that's what he did. Now, obviously, it was a jarring moment in the film.
Yeah.
But again, you just talked about killing Zod. Yeah. The only cut that we saw in the theaters of Superman was him killing Zod. He killed Zod in part 2.
We also have to remember,
and he did it with a smile on his face as well.
This is
he smirked at him before he tossed his ass in that pit.
Yeah, this is a different Superman, right? This is a different Superman. This Superman literally is a different Superman. This is based on the new 52 Superman.
Right.
They just came out with, like, I want to say 6, 7, 8 months ago. You know, because they reboot the thing every 18 months, which I find really frustrating if you like comics.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point is this. We're gonna wrap this up because we're going on way too long. Superman, awesome film. I don't like Man of Steel, but that's my own personal prerogative. I can understand where other people agree with a few of those points. But I will say this much. The fight scenes were awesome. The Kryptonian fight scenes were awesome when they came to Earth and they got used to the atmosphere and they started fighting. That was pretty cool. But other than that, yeah.
How many times did you see it?
I saw it 3 times.
Really?
Yeah. The first time I saw it, I didn't go to the movie theater because I had a choice between that and some other film, and I saw the other film. And then my friend had it on Blu-ray, and I borrowed it, and I saw it, and then it came on cable, and I saw it, and then I borrowed the Blu-ray again with special features this time. Basically, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. If I want to see that movie telling that story, I'll go watch my director's cut, Richard Donner 1 and 2. Because basically, it's those two movies combined.
It is.
Although with the new 52 dude and not the Silver Age Superman in it. That's basically what it is.
Like I have no problem with people not liking it as much, but I feel like, for some reason now those movies get a pass, and Man of Steel has a lot of those movies in it.
Yeah, I know. That's what it's basically those two films.
That's what kind of blows my mind about some of the dislike and hate for it is that a lot of that stuff was managed Superman 1 and 2 combined put into Man of Steel.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's just I guess the characterization and here's the thing. It's Superman for a modern age. They tried to do it with Superman Returns.
Right.
Work because it was too much of a love letter to Richard Donner, and the audience has changed. People didn't want uplifting; they wanted something dark.
I don't think it's just uplifting. I think the thing is that
no light.
Superman, he's just too true blue, and this movie wanted to give him some nuance. Wanted to make him not sure of who he is. Yet, and I think that's what people aren't getting. And that's fine, I can understand why people don't get that, if you're not.
No, I understand that. When I said they want it dark and gritty, I mean because the thing is this: we've had this huge kick of dark and gritty films.
Right.
Like it started in the the late '80s with the RoboCops and Batman and stuff like that. And it's just gotten progressively darker.
And it came back around with the Nolan films and even what's the James Bond, even the newest Casino Royale.
It's that was dark.
And prettier, so
it gets so dark and just snappy. And the thing is that sometimes you get tired. I mean, life is dark enough. I don't want to go to the movies and escape. I don't want to see what I live daily. I want to see.
Actually, I don't see Man of Steel as dark or gritty. I see it more like a realistic approach to Superman.
I agree. And realism it can be darker, and that's just the way it is. The real world.
Or even lighter.
Yeah. Or lighter. Yeah. But that's how I approach it. It is a realistic take on a superhero.
Yeah. The thing is that I don't know. For me, the thing is, for me, DC Comics has always been more fantastical than Marvel. And that's its strength. I mean, that's the thing I always liked about DC was that it was so Marvel is rooted in. They try to root it in reality. It's connected to reality.
I think the exact opposite. I always felt like DC, even though it's more fantastical, there was a lot more mature kind of darker themes going on than the Marvel stuff.
They could hit those topics because it was fantastical, and they could call it something else. It's well, he's not a drug dealer. He sells candy. He's not a mass murderer. He's a clown who likes to make you laugh.
Right.
Well, gassing you to death. But I mean, Marvel. I mean, it took them years to get to cover drugs. It took them years to cover child predators. It took them years to cover these things because they were grounded in reality, and they were they were based on more of the real world because they don't have these fantastical cities to talk about. They're like, yeah, I live in New York. I mean, everyone knows where New York is. At least I hope we do.
Right.
I always thought that DC and Marvel. I always thought that they take this approach of talking about real life issues in a they do it in a much more lighthearted or campy way, but to still call out on the BS of what's happening in real life.
Marvel, no, some of their stuff was kind of light. In the 60s, but in the 70s, there's an issue where Peter Parker helps a kid deal with a child molester, and then you realize that the reason Peter Parker is the way he is isn't because he got bitten by a radioactive spider, but because he was molested as a child. So that's not really funny, but yeah. So Yeah, but basically, like so I mean, it's kind of, I mean, in the '70s, Marvel started to change and go for more realistic type stuff. But during the '60s, I'll agree with you. '60s, '50s, Marvel was very relatively fantastic. Although, I mean, the Hulk is, I mean, he backhand slaps a dude that messes with him. I mean, that's pretty hardcore right there. Get out of my face. Okay, I guess it's time to wrap this stuff up. Give your outros, and then we'll call it a day. Or night. Or day.
Who's going first?
Whatever.
I guess I go.
I guess you go first. You're the
Okay.
guest.
Well, this is Mizzah Tee Fools of the Mizzah Tee Show. I had a great time here discussing one of my favorite topics, which is movies and also comics. So it was a lot of fun for me, and I'll see you fools later.
Yeah. Okay then, Triple M.
All right, this has been Triple M, and again, I'm still doing my I'm still working on the Nintendo Digital Direct project that I'm doing with Micah. Hopefully, I get it done before any releases from Nintendo. Hopefully this month. So
Hurry up.
hopefully I get it done before the releases comes in. And as my outro, I will just quote one of the best stuff I've actually heard in quite some time. You will give the people an ideal to strive towards. They will race behind you. They will stumble. They will fall. But in time, they will join you into the sun. In time, you will help them accomplish wonders.
Jorel.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that monologue. But anyway,
You a hater. You just hate.
Yeah.
I'm not hating it. It's kind of like the Superman with Superman Returns with and the father and the son. I don't like that religious overtone because Superman has always had kind of religious overtones, but it's a little too much. They bludgeon it with you kind of. So I guess I'll give my outro. I'm not going to do what I normally do because we did talk about superhero movies, so I guess I'll just simply say this. Excelsior!